here is the cost of living here in Chișinău, Moldova, and more specifically why you may want an additional amount of money as inflation is eating Chișinău alive. Hello and welcome back to the Traveling Report. Today I wanted to go over why Chișinău, Moldova is an interesting place but is becoming increasingly expensive, and why $1,000 a month may not honestly be enough for a lifestyle of luxury in Moldova anymore. So I bring you here in front of the National Theater to sort of bring the idea of what city center looks like. And a place in city center can be now as high as $2,000 a month to rent, as NGOs, EU government's aid, and other high-paying positions have been sprouting up since 2022, and the influx of EU accession talks. And it's with this that you have a significant competition playing out for city center apartments. And additionally, Chișinău is not building at the level they should be. I've said this in several videos. However, it is something that you have to watch out for. It is something that obviously I'm going to point out as much as physically possible, so I can create an idea of what the actuality on the ground is. Now, in a lot of cases in Moldova, you are getting tourist taxed out the gate, as if you do not speak Romanian, they will automatically flag you as a tourist. And if you are flagged as a tourist, you pay significantly higher rates. Now, this even happens to other Moldovans, and those who spend time in Moldova will start to realize that Moldova is very much a relationship-based country. And so when we look at cost of living, it's significantly cheaper for those who are resident here full-time. And I have not been here long enough to give you the full cost of living for a local, although I will be talking about that in Georgia. However, what you are looking at from this perspective is a very interesting city, as the foreigners will pay significantly more than those from the city. Now, additionally, there is very high home ownership rates in Moldova, which contribute to higher rates of rent, of course. Now, this is something that, of course, is not inherently all bad, as, of course, the Moldovans can afford to live here. However, it does push up rents quite significantly. That said, food and so forth is still relatively inexpensive. Me and my business partner Mason went to a Ukrainian restaurant near-ish center, and we ate a full plate each for right around $5 per plate cost. Now, this is not inherently too expensive from a food perspective and eating out perspective. Now, that said, I believe that eating out is something that is somewhat of a nice to have as opposed to a necessity. But of course, in Moldova, you can eat out quite substantially and still save money. Now, gym memberships are hit or miss. If you find a local gym that you like, it is extremely inexpensive. It can be $15 a month for a local gym. And I tend to think that this is a pretty nice country if you want a gym membership. Now, I do believe that they are becoming more heavy-handed with the pricing, and invariably there will come a time where gym prices get jacked up quite substantially. But for now, it is something that's in 2025, you are not too worried about gym membership costs. Now, furthermore, the cost of a public transport bus will be on screen. I completely forgot how much I paid, but a taxi across the city is around $3, $4 in that realm. Petrol is about $1.12 per liter, and you can buy a 2 liter of cola right now for $20.50. That is the cost of a liter of cola, which is around $1.25, something around that. And so, in essence, Chișnău is becoming increasingly more expensive, albeit it is one of my favorite cities in the world, genuinely. And I will continue to visit here off and on. I have a lot of friends here, and I believe that increasingly it is becoming one of the places I can call closest to home, alongside Poland, a lot of places in Poland, to be frank with you, but most likely Częstochowa, and then you also have Georgia, but specifically for me, Kutaisi. So I will be going over cities, cost of living here in the near future. Of course, as I progress in this channel, I will be spending longer on the ground in each country, as I believe it is important to understand fully the cost of living in each city. And to understand each city's cost of living, you have to be able to get a monthly rental, and that would take me perhaps 6 months in each country, which I'm perfectly fine with doing in probably 190 countries. Obviously, some of them I will have to skip, and some of them will be territories. However, as this channel progresses, I will be creating a database of all of the cost of living in different countries and cities within those countries. So if you're excited for that, feel free to subscribe. If you liked this video, feel free to like it. If you really liked this video, feel free to share it. If you are looking for consulting and you want to get a one-on-one help from myself, feel free to leave a comment down below, or additionally, you can reach out at Calendly, which will also be linked in the description down below. That said, if you are at all interested in this sort of content, I post twice a day right now. However, I am upping to 3 times a day very soon, and whenever I up to 3 times a day, you will be gaining a lot more knowledge. So, of course, if you are at all looking forward to that, again, feel free to subscribe. This has been the Traveling Report, and I'll see you later.